Just wanted to give you guys a very warm welcome. I'm going to try to get through this presentation as not quick as possible, but like respecting and appreciating your time. Because I know you guys are all very busy people and you have a lot of things to be doing. So with that being said, let me move this to the side. Cool. All right. So listen, by the way, it's insane. We have 48,000 people here. This is wild. So anyways, listen, in our next 5 days, my goal is to make a big impact in the following ways: to provide you with confidence where there was once uncertainty, to give you clarity where there was once confusion, and really to unlock within you the true potential you have to make a dent in this universe. Yet, if nothing else, I'm here to show you how to create a $373 a day business, even if you have no previous experience, no authority, and no specific knowledge. How? By combining the power of AI and digital products, two of the fastest growing industries in today's new economy. Now, before we get into that, let me quickly explain to you how this session is going to work today. We've got a great presentation here that I spent about the last 3 weeks preparing, and I'm trying to make it for like an hour and a half-ish, somewhere around those lines. I'm going to try my absolute best. But I also brought in a very special co-host. His name is Jason Fladlin. He's flown all the way here to Dubai. And to be honest, he's a living legend. He's been in the space for 20 years. Now, most people don't know this, but Jason is one of the OGs in this market. And you're going to see in a second, I'm going to talk to you guys about the 5 big waves of the digital world. Jason is someone who over the past 20 years has seen all 5 waves. So he has a lot of experience in this industry, and he's going to be tracking your questions during this presentation. So we're going to do the main full presentation that I've prepared. And then at the end, for those that want to kind of hang out and do a little bit more of an informal setting, he's got a list of all the questions and sort of all the queries and concerns that have come up. And in a more informal setting, he's going to answer all of these questions and make sure that you have all the information you need to kill it in the next few days of this challenge. So it is essential. It's very, very essential. And it's important that you are here live, okay, to join us for the Q&A, because as soon as this live session ends, you're going to see this live session is going to end, and then we're going to cut out that live bit, the live Q&A bit. We're going to cut that out, okay, so no one else can see it. So if you want to come kick it, make sure you're live here every single day, and make sure you hang back at the end, okay? This is your only way to be a part of this special session, is by being here live every day. Most importantly, my objective here is very simple. It's to challenge you to start your own digital business in the next 5 days. And for that, I want to spend as much time as possible with you here, making sure that you are taken care of. Sound like a plan? Let me know if you guys are happy. And that sounds like a good way to spend your next 5 days. All right, beautiful. All right, so with that being said, let's get into it. The truth is the world is changing, and it is changing fast. The way we work is changing, the way people consume is changing, and as a result, the way we create businesses has to change as well. We are entering what researchers are calling a non-expert economy. And there is a bunch of first-time business owners taking advantage of this to get paid as much as doctors and lawyers every single month, even as non-tech individuals or as their first ever online venture. And we're going to talk about that more in just a minute. So if you're already looking to start an online business, you'll trust me, you're going to want to pay attention to what I'm going to show you in these next 5 days, because I am about to show you how you can take advantage of this non-expert economy to start a business with virtually no startup capital or previous knowledge that can get you paychecks like this every single week. Now, what I want to do in this event is I want to give you an alternative path. Let me be very clear. I'm going to tell you this straight to your face. With what we teach you in the next 5 days, you are not going to fire your boss overnight. You are not going to become a millionaire in days, or even get to $10,000 a month by the end of this week. So if that is what you are expecting, I cannot help you. I'm sorry. At this point, to be honest, you can just disconnect from the live session right now. Now, what I will show you is an easy way to get into this online business game, so that way you're not sitting on the sidelines while eliminating most of the risk that it usually comes with starting a business online. This way, you can dip your toes in the water virtually risk-free and get into this new type of business model before the big wave comes in. So that way, you are not left on the outside. What I don't want you to do is quit your job, quit school, or quit whatever you're doing right now to pay the bills, okay? I see this all the time. People say, you need to go all in. You need to burn the bridges, that you should quit your job and everything else you're doing and instead go all in on an online business. And let me tell you, that's a fucking terrible idea. Sorry, excuse my French. Listen, as someone first getting started out, there is no reason for you to expose yourself to that much risk. That is why a lot of people end up getting wiped out. They take too much risk too soon. It's like trying to dive headfirst into a lake where you don't even know the depth, because if the water is shallow, you could end up with a broken neck. So why would you risk that? It's the same thing here. Why would you quit your job or spend tens of thousands of dollars burning through all of your life savings to test a business model you have no experience with, when you can just start small with very little risk on the side of whatever it is that you're already doing? This way, even if you're working 8 hours a day or studying full time, you can still dip your toes into the water and get started with this without having to dive head first. So that is really the premise of everything I'm going to teach you today. I don't want you to work a lot and expect a lot. I want you to work just a little bit and expect a little. My objective here today is to show you, not to show you how to become a millionaire overnight. No, it's just to show you how to make your first sale. At least on my screen, you're showing the 51,912 of you. Okay, that is my objective. Let's just get that first sale. Okay, one sale. That is it. Because with digital products, the person who sells 1 sells 10, the person who sells 10 sells 100, the person who sells 100 sells 1,000. So you just have to start by getting your first sale. Every single person I've met in the last 9 years working in this industry who has made their first sale went on to make more sales. I am yet to meet someone who only made 1 sale in this market, but I do know a lot of people who never made their first sale. So if you want to be successful, you just have to make sure that you take this first step. It is by far the most crucial one in your journey to success online. So let's take out all the smoke and confusion out of this topic and put together your first digital product, so that way you can get your first sale as soon as possible. So the real question is this: is it possible to risk practically nothing yet still create life-changing income and do it relatively quickly? And the answer is, I believe it is. And that's exactly what I want to show you today, as well as over the space of the next 4 days in the Make Money Online Challenge. By the end of the day, you are going to walk away with a simple 3-step approach you can use to create a digital product from zero and start making sales. Even if you don't have a product, you don't have an audience, you don't want to show your face online, you don't have any knowledge, authority, or even a previous work experience, and you have less than $100 to get started. And I'm going to show you how to do all of that by leveraging AI. And you're also going to understand the 4 big waves of the digital world. And I'm also going to uncover why I believe we are about to experience the 5th wave, and how I'm personally betting millions and millions and millions of my personal money, and why I'm putting my money where my mouth is in order to lead the charge and make sure that it's accessible for all of you guys. And why I'm confident this will be the biggest wave that this market is yet to see. This is the biggest, most wide open AI opportunity that no one is talking about yet. Now, before we get into all that, I need to address all the rumors that are going around. Maybe you've heard the big news that's shaking this side of the internet to its core. And it's true. The rumors are true. They are saying that I've bought into the biggest digital marketplace that maybe you've never heard of. It is a silent marketplace out there that most people aren't even aware is making our users over $1 billion a year in income. Really let that land. People are making $1 billion a year, putting $1 billion a year in their pocket from digital products. That's what our people are doing. And what's crazy is that it's growing exponentially. It hasn't even hit puberty yet. So imagine what it's going to do when everyone knows about it. Our users are projected to earn $4 billion with a B, $4 billion this year. And I have made a massive investment into it. If you don't know it yet, this platform is called WOP. Now, more about this platform later on and how you can actually benefit from this massive investment I made in just a minute. First, let's address the elephant in the room here. Because, guys, let's keep it real with each other. I know you guys are wondering, why the fuck would I show you all this? Why would I spend all of this time, energy, effort, money to show you all this? Okay. Why would I put together this huge event, spend multiple hours a day to show you all of this for free? Of course, I want to make something very clear. I have an agenda behind what I'm teaching you here. And anyone who says they don't online is lying to you. Okay. Now, I don't want you to have to ask this question. I don't want you to sit through, multiple days of training where I'm giving you so much free game, so much free sauce. But then in the back of your mind, you've got this thing lingering, and you have this question lingering in the back of your mind. I want you to be able to just focus, and I want us to have full transparency. So I'm just going to tell you straight to your face. I have a secret motive behind this event. Okay. I've essentially figured out a way that every time you make $100, you can peel off a tiny little bit of that. You can peel off a dollar. You can peel off a dollar and give it to me as a tip. Look, the way WOP makes money is very simple and it's very transparent. The way WOP makes money is by processing payments and taking a very small percentage of each transaction on the platform, which means I get paid a very small, tiny amount for every single one of you who creates a digital product and successfully sells it on WOP. So I have a vested interest in you being successful with what I'm teaching you here today. Because if you make money, I make a little tiny portion of that. Okay. That's it. So now we're fully honest and transparent with each other. And also, by investing millions and millions and millions of dollars of my own money in what I preach, I am putting my money where my mouth is. I actively practice what I tell you to do. And this is also very important for me because there's not many people out there that can say this. Now, this is a free challenge and we have tons of content to go through. All right. Everything from how to develop your first digital product, even if you have no previous knowledge, by taking advantage of proprietary AI, how to take the content that AI creates for us and then turn a 90-minute screen recording into a digital product with $100,000 potential, how to access an untapped source of buyers moving $2 to $3 million a month in digital product sales, and then how to apply the Amazon flywheel effect to your digital product business, how to take one digital product and multiply it into 4 streams of income. And this is just some of the stuff we're covering, to name a few. Now, obviously, I'm aware that there's going to be a lot of people here who want to take an extra step. So I want to be 100% transparent with you from the get-go. At the end of this event, you're going to have an offer for those who want to move faster and work closely with me. Listen, let's face it, it's really annoying when there's these events and the host just keeps beating around the bush throughout the entire event, only to hold your attention until the last day so that way that they can reveal an offer. And listen, guys, I've even done that in the past and I hold my hands up, and this time I want to do it differently and I want to just be super transparent with you guys. There'll be an offer at the end, but listen, we don't need to worry about that for now. Okay. That's far later on. Okay. So I just want to let you know from the get-go, in a later episode, for the people who are at the right moment and want to accelerate their journey, I will present this offer. But do not worry about this because, as I said, there's a shit ton of free content first. And just with this content, you will be able to launch your first digital product by the end of the week. So this way, so we don't have to spend much more time talking about this. We have a lot to cover here. I created a waitlist group. So for those of you guys who, this does sound interesting, there's a waitlist group where I'll share more information about this offer. The only 2 things I will say about this offer is you're going to get a chance to compete for $250,000 in prizes, including a McLaren, 5 Rolexes, and an in-person mastermind with me at the WAP offices in New York. And I'm going to make this clear, this is going to be the most expensive thing that I've ever offered publicly. So just to set your guys' expectations. So if you think that's something you'd be interested in, I'll leave a link for it below later. But with that being said, let's get back to the challenge. So please, everyone, go ahead and drop a ready below if you are ready to build your first digital product with AI. I'll go ahead and check the chat. Ready. Beautiful. All right. So with that being said, you might be wondering, why am I qualified to lecture you about digital products here and throw out all these claims that it is the best business model to start in 2025? Well, first of all, that's how I personally built my fortune. And I have been selling digital products for over 7 years at this point. I created one of the most successful digital products ever in the online business industry, Agency Navigator, and went on to make $100 million from digital products today. In fact, some people even jokingly call me a course seller final boss. And I just want to make that clear, something clear. I take that as a massive compliment. I think some people say it as this rude, to try to throw shade or whatever. Thank you. I take it as a massive compliment. I thank people for labeling me the best of what I do in the world. Okay. So the fact that people even call me this should tell you everything you need to know. I know how to teach this stuff. I know how to do this better than anyone else in the world. I'm excited to show you all this. And by the way, I have documented my entire journey on YouTube, and I still leave my old videos up from 9 years ago. Okay. You can literally see 9. In fact, this year will be 10 years that I've been on YouTube, going back all the way to being a clueless 15-year-old living with my single mom, just trying to change my situation. Now, what I'm proudest of is having helped thousands of people start their online businesses and through that achieve what I call their turning point. That is the point in time where their income from their online business surpasses their main income stream and covers all of their living expenses. And the reason why I'm so proud of this is because I know that this is such a pivotal and important moment in the lives of my customers. And I want to make something super clear to you guys. If you follow everything that we're going through over the space of the next 5 days, the chance of you succeeding and getting that first sale, not becoming a multimillionaire, not driving around in Lambos and blah, 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 just getting that first win. Okay, that's what we're trying to do here. Just getting that first win, or at least that's the launch pad for everything else we do. The chances are super high. And if there's one regret I had, if there's literally only one regret I had in my career, it's not savoring that first win. So please, just one promise to me: when you get that first win, please just make a promise. In fact, just drop in the chat, promise, or I promise, even better. Drop in the chat, I promise. when you get that first win, just please make this promise to me that you take it in, that you savor it. Because if there's one thing I wish I could have done going back, it's just savor that first win. Okay. And I don't want you guys to lose out on that moment, because I can tell you right now, nothing, that first million, that first blah, blah, nothing will ever compare to that first win. Okay. Beautiful. By the way, cool. Beautiful. I promise. Beautiful. All right. Anyways, back to the presentation. The reason why I'm so proud of this is that because I just know it's such a pivotal moment in the lives of my customers. Now, usually whenever someone buys one of my digital products, they're usually in one of three situations. They're either working a job where they have little to no prospect of financial growth. So they know long-term, that's not what they want to be doing. However, they have bills to pay. Okay, we're all human. We all have bills to pay. And that is the only thing that pays their bills. So they can't simply quit. The second situation is very similar, but instead of a job, they're in university. Usually, they already know that what they're studying is not what they want to do for life, and they feel like they're missing valuable time that could be invested in starting their own thing. However, usually their parents are paying their tuition, and they don't have a viable reason to justify dropping out. Lastly, I also get a lot of people who are already working in well-paying jobs, sometimes self-employed or even small business owners, who already make good money, but they simply can't enjoy the fruits of their labor as they wish, because their work takes all their time and they are stuck to that physical location. Now, you might be in one of these three situations right now. The key point here is that in all these circumstances, they feel like they're not achieving their full potential. Most importantly, they feel as though someone else has the keys to their life. Someone else is in control. They are all trapped in what I call slaves to their own, or what I call as slaves to their own circumstances. Even though some of them are making quite a lot of money, okay, and they could be, it doesn't matter whether they're making a lot of money or they're not making much money at all. They still feel trapped in a life controlled by others while watching their true potential slip away. And this turning point that I mentioned is such a pivotal moment for them, because when they achieve that, that is the moment they get to reclaim ownership of their lives. It's the moment that they get to choose what they will do now. They're going to, if they're going to fire their boss, if they're going to quit university, stop having to respond to someone else, they get to decide on what they work on, where they work from, or if they even want to work in the first place, because they are now the ones in control. And there's nothing more liberating than experiencing this transformation in your own life. I know, trust me, I've been there. I experienced that myself when I was able to quit school and look my mom in the eyes and tell her, listen, mom, you don't have to work again, okay? You don't have to work any of those jobs ever again. From now on, I'm the one who takes care of us. And whatever you want or need, just tell me, okay? And you will have it. That's it. Your life is taken care of. You took care of me. You did your job. Now I'm doing my job. And for me, that's what the turning point is. And you can see right here, this is when I told my mom, actually, or officially when everything was signed off. I bought her dream house, which for me was like one of the most important things in my life. And you can see this is actually went back for Christmas, actually in the house that I bought her, the Harrods card. Actually, wait, actually, I've got something. I actually have it in my drawer. I look at it sometimes. This is my mom's old employee card at Harrods. And you know what's so crazy? Now at Harrods, we shop at this place called Penthouse, and you have to spend at least $250,000 a year. And by the way, guys, like, I'm not trying to show off here. Like, don't read too much into this. It's just the fact that, like, it's crazy because sometimes it doesn't really happen so much anymore. But a couple of years ago, when we first started shopping there, it's invite, private only section of Harrods, like, people used to come up to her and they're like, oh, like, Muminat, like, what do you do? You're not allowed up here, because they didn't realize that she doesn't work there anymore. And to me, that's what this is all for. And that should be your why. Like, all the flashy stuff, the watches, this, like, none of that shit matters at the end of the day. Now, if you succeed and you want to treat yourself, go for it. But just make sure you take care of the people that took care of you first. For me, that should always be the number one priority. So that's why when I say, when you achieve your turning point, you truly become ungovernable. Ungovernable because no one else will ever tell you what to do ever again. No boss will tell you what to do. No parents will control how you live your life. No one will put a price on yourself. No government will dictate how you should or should not live your life. And to me, that's really what it's all about. Now, with the last opportunity I presented to the market, Estimate, I helped tens of thousands of regular, everyday people achieve their turning point and create a legion of ungovernable individuals. We literally changed the entire online business industry with this model. All of that to say that when I present a new opportunity to market, it usually causes a deep and profound change and allows thousands of people positioned in the right place at the right time to take advantage of it, even if they don't have any previous experience or have never made a dollar online. And I believe that what I'm about to present to you is the biggest online opportunity to date, at least 100 times bigger than SMA. And I'm actually going to prove that with numbers. Now, in case you didn't know, I've also made money with service-based online businesses. I own multiple physical product businesses. I'm literally wearing one of my companies right here, my eyewear company. I own a few software companies myself, and I invest in many more. And I have one of the most successful YouTube channels in this industry with over 5 million subscribers. I've also been a top affiliate and earned millions for offers like GHL, ClickFunnels, Shopify, etc. All of that to say that when it comes to making money online, I've tried and succeeded with it all. So I can speak from an unbiased perspective. So I know exactly what works, what doesn't, what it takes for it to work, and most importantly, what is working right now. I've seen the ups and the downs of this industry, and that is why I can safely say that in 2025, there's never been a better time to make money with digital products, because what used to take months when I first started can now be done in hours. What used to cost tens of thousands of dollars can now be done for practically nothing. Most of the manual work can now be fully automated, all thanks to AI. Now, normally, I wouldn't even consider telling you to get into digital products, because that has a very high barrier to entry. It's historically been a very high barrier to entry business, especially for beginners. But because of these unusual circumstances of the new non-expert economy, it kind of forces me to have to show you this stuff. Listen, I have always preached for service-based businesses simply because it allows you to get started without having to spend a penny, learn a skill fast, and monetize it from day one. Keep pretty much everything you make a full-time income with only a few sales a month, and get started while working a full-time job or studying full-time. And this combination of factors was true only for service-based businesses up until about 6 months ago. Now, something drastic has changed. Because of the applications of AI, you can now have this exact same set of criteria, but with a business that removes the most difficult aspect of a service-based business: actually delivering the service. How? Well, we're going to get onto that later on today. Today, I'm going to reveal the secret of digital products that easily exceed $10,000 a month and why most people fail to make their first sale. Tomorrow, I'm going to go over the secret strategy for finding a winning digital product that generates up to $1,000 a day, even if you don't want to show your face. On Tuesday, I'm going to show you how to access an untapped source of buyers that's currently selling $2 to $3 million a month worth of digital products without spending a dollar on ads. Wednesday, I'll give you the ultimate guide to build a $373 a day business in the next 90 days. And on Thursday, we have a cool one. I'm going to show you how this dad, and I'll introduce him in just a second. Well, actually, you know what? Let me give you the mic drop now. My co-host for this is actually the dad I'm referring to, a father of three, and he's made over $250 million with digital products to prove that it's not luck. I want to, listen, I know a lot of you guys are going to be watching this stream and you're like, yeah, but you're you, or whatever labels you want to put on me, or whatever projections you want to have, or, oh, I can't do this because of this. Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to introduce you to a dad who's done $250 million with digital products over the space of the last 20 years to show you exactly what's working right now. And that gentleman is my co-host. Now, when it comes to starting a business, the question you need to be asking yourself is, what is the right vehicle for me? If you can find the right answer to this question, you've already walked half of the way to your financial freedom, because this is where most people fail. Most people, they put in the hard work, which, by the way, is the most difficult aspect of it. They just forget to ask themselves if they're even putting in the hard work into the right thing. So let me help you answer this question. To find this answer, the first thing you need to understand is that there are only two ways to join the upper class: selling something relatively cheap to a lot of people, or selling something relatively expensive to a few people. Both, and this most important part, with high margins. And that's really a key point here, because if you can't keep most of what you make, it doesn't matter how much you sell, you will always be stuck in the middle class. On the other hand, 95% of individuals in the middle class sell something relatively cheap to a few people. And this is probably where you are right now, selling something relatively cheap to a few people. This is the formula for stagnancy and a lifetime of financial struggle. How do you get out of this? By selling something with scaling potential. What is the business with the most scaling potential and, most importantly, the highest margins in 2025? Digital Products 2.0. Now, what even is a digital product in the first place? I know a lot of you guys are curious. Most people try to overcomplicate this, but it's actually super simple. For a product to be considered a digital product, it just needs to follow this rule. It needs to be created and delivered completely digitally. That's it. Okay, that's all. So with that definition in mind, does that mean that a Kindle book is a digital product? Yes, a Kindle book is a digital product. It's created and delivered digitally, so it's a digital product. Can a Notion template be considered a digital product? Yes, a Notion template is also created and delivered digitally, so it's a digital product. Is a spreadsheet a template a digital product? Well, it's created digitally, yes. Is it delivered digitally? Yes, so it's a digital product. An online course is a digital product. Even an email newsletter can be a digital product. A PDF can be a digital product. There are people who sell Premiere editing templates, product mockups for Photoshop. I even know a guy on WAP who's currently selling Fortnite maps. Those are all digital products. The possibilities with this are pretty much endless. There are dozens of niches and thousands of topics that you can choose from. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that and what is the best format for your digital product. The most important thing here to understand is that you only need to find it once. One single topic to monetize. All we're doing here is we're monetizing a topic. And the best part is all you need is a single successful digital product. You just need to get your topic right once to hit anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 a month. Just like the guy who makes $8,000 in the last 30 days with his Fortnite maps without even showing his face. In total, he's made over $78,000 from this single digital product. And I know you're probably thinking, but how do I even find these topics? I don't know anything about them. Don't worry about that. We're going to cover that later on in the challenge, all in due time. Now, more importantly, this is the best type of product there is to sell. I consider digital products the superior type of products because unlike pretty much every single other type of product, digital products don't have a cost of goods. Your cost to sell 100 or 100,000 products is virtually the same, okay? Imagine two different bakeries on the same street. The first bakery makes traditional bread. So for every loaf that they sell, they need to buy more flour, yeast, salt, and pay for the electricity to run their ovens. If they want to serve 100 times more customers, then of course they're going to need 100 more times ingredients, bigger ovens, more bakers, etc., etc. Now, imagine the second bakery discovers a magical oven. Once they perfect a recipe and bake it in the special oven, it creates a master loaf that can be instantly duplicated at no additional cost. Whether they serve 10 customers or 10,000 customers in a day, they use exactly the same amount of ingredients. Their only real cost was in creating that first master loaf, okay? What is the difference? That is the difference between traditional products and digital products. With digital products, you invest once in creating something excellent, and then you can just sell it infinitely with no additional product cost. This is why the profit margins of a successful digital product business are simply in a different league compared to any other product. Once you cover your initial creation costs, which can be less than $100, by the way, almost every sale goes straight to your bottom line, aka profit. Meaning with digital products, you have unlimited scale and you get to keep pretty much everything that you make. It's simply the highest profit margin business there is. Digital products essentially fix all the problems that come with physical products: logistics, shipping, storage, stocks, delays, returns, importing tariffs. By the way, don't get me started on tariffs. Like, it's been, even at the eyewear business, like, listen, it's been a lot of uncertainty the last 4 to 6 weeks. All my friends who are in physical product business, it's not fun. Drop shippers, RIP. I would not want to be one right now. Listen, with all that being said, with digital products, something like that will never take you out of business because all of your operations are done digitally. It doesn't matter if you're in US, Canada, Germany, UK, Australia, if you're in China or even South Sudan, your operation remains exactly the same and you can run it from anywhere that you want. Digital products start with less than $100. They're extremely low risk, zero logistics, fully automated fulfillment. If you sell 10 or you sell 10,000 units, it's the same amount of work. This is the business of the future, fully done digitally. And this is a booming industry that is only in its infancy. Think about 20 years ago. How many people were actually purchasing things regularly online back then? Very few. Nowadays, every single one of us has purchased something online. Not only that, but your mom, your dad, maybe even your grandparents have purchased things online. Usually those things are physical items, meaning it's an industry that has already reached maturity. There's not that much more room to grow. Now, digital products, totally different ballgame. Most people haven't purchased a digital product yet, which is a great thing, by the way, because it's kind of like being in Amazon 20 years ago. If you are here, you're probably the perfect candidate to take advantage of this booming industry that is about to explode. Why? Because you're ahead of the curve. Just the fact that you're here in this challenge, spending 5 days learning the secrets of this market, already puts you ahead of 99% of people. You are already ahead of 99% of people just being here, okay? You're understanding how this market works. You're seeing dozens of examples of people making money from it. You probably even purchased digital products yourself. I mean, think about it. Have you ever purchased a book on Kindle, an online course, a PDF, a spreadsheet, a template for something online? If you have, go ahead and drop a yes in the chat. Drop a yes in the chat if you've ever purchased something like that. I'm going to go ahead and take a little water break and beautiful, beautiful. Yes. The name kind of went, but I saw it's not actually live from Joseph. By the way, guys, I love that. Like, it's not actually live comments. Like, it's very much live. Yes, 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 yes. Beautiful. And Joseph, it's live. Beautiful. All right. Cool, cool, cool. Cute. Oh, the chats. Beautiful. All right. Cool. All right. All right. All right. Anyways, going back to it, lots of yeses. As I said, you're already ahead of the curve. Now, let me ask you a question. If you buy them, why not sell them? So that way you can go from consumer to producer. Well, I know why, because you probably think, well, I don't have anything to sell. Why would anyone buy anything from me? I don't have any authority. I don't know how to sell and don't have anyone to sell to, or I don't have any expertise and don't know how to do this. I get it. Okay. I get it. Trust me. So that's why by the end of the session, you're going to understand why none of that really matters, because you can have a digital product ready to sell by the end of this week, even if you have no authority or expertise, or you've never even made a single dollar online. Now, most people haven't realized this big shift in buying behavior just yet. You see, over the last 15 years or so, we have gone through 4 big phases of buying behavior online. And if you pay attention, you're going to see that each one of these waves is built on top of the previous one by adding a new element to it that completely disrupts that model. It all started back in 2009 with e-com. We can call this wave 0, since it's really the one that slowly took place. Okay, it was commerce but online. And then around 2012 is the first big wave. Back then, most people simply depended on paid ads to get traffic to their store. That is when Amazon FBA really started to explode. Amazon completely shifted the market dynamic. You can now get buyer traffic that is pre-sold buyers. Okay, these are literally pre-sold buyers who are already looking to buy what you sell completely free by listing your products on the Amazon marketplace. That allowed thousands of regular everyday people to create an e-com store, find a product, list on Amazon for free, and sell thousands of units without having to invest a single dollar in ads. You know, that was truly one of the biggest revolutions in the space today. And that all resulted, okay, from the combination of e-commerce plus Amazon FBA. Then a few years later, something interesting happened. People figured out the biggest issue of running an e-com business on Amazon FBA was actually fulfilling their orders, because they had to buy a bunch of stock, not knowing if it was going to sell or not, while having to pay upfront to acquire such stock, which is very risky. That is when dropshipping started to get extremely popular, because it essentially allow you to ship your product directly from China without having to pay for stock upfront. This new big wave was a combination of FBA plus no stock ecom. It's as if each new wave is standing on the shoulders of giants who stand on the giants before them. Then something very interesting started to happen. You see, after that, a lot of those dropshipping stores started to scale aggressively into paid ads, especially Facebook ads. And that created another opportunity. And that is where I made my first million, and also helped tens of thousands of people to make 6 figures themselves and go from a slave of their circumstances to ungovernable individuals who had achieved their turning points. What we did was very simple. We learned how to run Facebook ads or any sort of paid traffic, and took care of the 5, 6, and 7-figure brand budgets that these dropshipping stores were pumping into paid ads. It's what we called SMMA. And again, it was a combination of dropshipping plus Facebook ads. What happened next is that a lot of those people who had SMAs realized that they could scale much further if they didn't have to manually provide a service for every single new client. We basically found a way to automate the fulfillment of our services, so that way we can now sell to 10 people or 10,000 people with the exact same effort and team size on the back end. We did that by packaging our knowledge or someone else's knowledge into a digital product. And that is where I truly made tens and tens of millions of dollars. It also fixed all of the intricate problems that you'd inevitably run into when scaling service-based businesses: increasing cost of staff, increasing complexity, and insanely complicated operations and structure. Okay. And it fixed all that. Now, this was a combination of SMA plus fulfillmentless product. Up until this point, digital products has had a very high barrier to entry. This is why I could never recommend it to anyone. Like, there's no way I could recommend you to do this up until now. And I'll explain why. You see, in order to do this, you either already had to possess some sort of knowledge yourself that other people were willing to pay for, or you had to have enough money to hire someone else to package their knowledge into the form of digital product for you. And by the way, guys, this is what I've been doing for years now. I have paid out millions of dollars to other people to package their knowledge into a digital product for me. And by the way, you can go check on Digital Launchpad, which is my mobile app. We have dozens of programs all taught by different speakers. Every single one of those was a 6 or 7 figure check that I had to write in order to package their knowledge into a digital product, which meant up until this point, the barrier to entry for digital products was extremely, extremely high. It just wasn't feasible for people to do. But in the last few months, something has changed drastically. Today, a brand new gold mine has just been discovered and it is waiting to be dug. This gold mine is the 5th grand wave, Digital Products 2.0. An even better opportunity than Amazon FBA, even more profitable than dropshipping, even bigger than SMA, with all the perks of digital products while making it accessible to everyone. This 5th phase will likely surpass anything we've seen before because it combines two of the fastest growing markets in the world today, digital products plus AI. When you put these two things together, this is a powerhouse. This new digital product economy currently moves $684.9 million per day in sales. And it's projected to grow to $1.3 billion per day by 2028. Just on WAP, our users are earning $100 million a month with their digital products. But if you really want to profit from this opportunity, you need to be positioned before the big wave hits. And that is when lives are truly changed and millionaires are created. And the thing is, when big waves are about to hit, most people are so distracted by something else. For example, before AI boomed, people were distracted with metaverse. Facebook lost to NVIDIA because of that. Right now, most people are distracted with different AI wrappers when the real opportunity is in implementing this technology to already existing opportunities, okay? That is what has always created the big waves in this digital world, as I've just shown you, is building upon the last. Now, taking this last wave and adding a new element on top of it is what allows you to multiply its impact multiple times over. Digital products, powerful. AI, powerful. You put the two together, you are on to something transformative, something that we have never seen before, which is why I can never talk about this stuff before. That is what Amazon FBA did to ecom. That's what dropshipping did to Amazon FBA. It's what SMA did to dropshipping. And then it's what digital products did to SMA. And following the exact same logic, it's what AI will inevitably do to digital products. So now I have a question for you. If I show you how to profit in this 5th great phase, will you take action? Or are you going to keep seated on the sideline watching other people take action? Go ahead and drop an action in the chat. If you're going to take action, you're just going to be seated. I'll go ahead and check the chat. Action, action, action. Beautiful. Love to see it. All right, good. I'm glad to see that you guys are a kick-ass audience. 54,142 people live. At least that's what I'm seeing on my screen. By the way, guys, if I'm ever looking to the screen, I've got like 2 monitors here. So I'm just looking at how many absolute badasses we got live here today on this Sunday night stream, or at least it's Sunday night for me here in Dubai. It is 9:44. All right, so 18 months from now, okay, when you see all of these same people becoming successful, I don't want you to think to yourself, oh, I wish I did this sooner, because there are already hundreds of people making fortunes with this, okay? Just like this French guy who made $71,000 this month with Pokemon cards, or this guy who made $171,000 in the last 30 days with selling a PDF, just a weekly newsletter. All of those, were results that were generated in the last 30 days with a single digital product. To give you an idea, I should say, of the scale of what's going on in this market right now, the average person on WAP right now is making $9,000 a month. And by the way, guys, it's like funny me saying this because I actually wish that number was lower. I'm being serious. I genuinely wish that number was lower because it would make it seem less scary. But all I can do is relay the facts to you. Like that's all I can do here. Okay, so that's the number. I know right now. I think we haven't published this. This is once again, obviously, as a co-owner, I know data that no one else is accessible to or has access to. We market 7,800, but it's going up every single day. Listen, this is all achieved from people on their phones or computers without even leaving their houses. And as I said, the real perk of this business is the scaling potential because you are essentially selling to the entire world. You are not limited to a city or even a country. And just for you to understand, in the last 30 days, really let this land. In the last 30 days, there was more than 571,000 transactions on WAP. That means more than 571,000 people buying a digital product on the platform. And you know what? There was less than 10,000 people selling. That is insane. That means that there is a huge gap between the demand for digital products and the people actually creating them. This market is already experiencing an exponential growth. And when this new wave of 2.0 digital products really hits, things are about to go parabolic. And you either adapt or you die. You need to embrace the shift or you're going to get left behind. And that's not me who's saying it. All the studies point in the same direction. Goldman Sachs came out with a study that points out that basically 300 million jobs will be replaced by AI by 2030. And by the way, that's not something that's only going to happen by 2030. It's happening right now. Let me prove it to you. 37% of employers today already say that they would rather have a robot or AI do the job rather than someone who's just graduated. So by the way, if you're currently in university, that might be something to seriously consider and be aware of, okay? And if you're trying to get your way up, if you're trying to work your way up and get a high paying job, the same is true there as well, by the way. The Shopify CEO, the biggest company in this new non-expert economy we're living through, has already established a policy of no new hires without proof that AI can't do the job. Listen, the bottom line here is this. You either embrace this change or you're going to get left behind. So your best bet is to get in early before the big wave comes in and take advantage of this right now. The new generation of ungovernable individuals will be created from AI, and the ones who will suffer the consequences of being slaves, and the ones who don't, I should say, will suffer the consequences of being slaves to circumstances. They're going to get replaced, they're going to get fired, and they will be the ones who fail to embrace this change. And right now, you get to choose which team you want to play for. So how do you take advantage of this? Today, there are two ways you can get into this industry. Method one, you already have expertise, or you learn a completely new skill from zero until you've mastered it to the point that you can teach other people how to do it. Obviously, listen, that takes a long time. And by the way, by the time you actually master such skill, you probably would have already missed the big wave. Then you take all this knowledge, package it up into 30 to 50 highly detailed classes about one broad topic, such as, by the way, personal development, affiliate marketing, bodybuilding, which obviously requires you to cover a broad range of topics. And the biggest flaw of this type of product is this: it relies on your expertise and established authority to sell, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Digital Products 1.0. The way we do it, we create a different type of digital product. With this second method, it is a much faster way to profit. You don't need to learn a skill or have any existing knowledge. You don't need to show your face if you don't want to, or spend a single cent on ads to get started. Instead of having to acquire hard knowledge to then turn that knowledge into a digital product, we use AI to create the product for us. Remember, AI has access to all the knowledge available on the internet and knows exactly where to look for it, okay? If you have the right AI solution, and by the way, I want to make something clear, not any AI solution, the right AI solution, because most of them, 99%, scratch that, 99.9% of them can't do this, okay? I've only ever found one in the entire world that can do it. If you have the right AI solution, it can do this for you, okay? And at the end of the day, you could go and live in the mountains for 10 years and dedicate 10 years of your life to become an expert at something. You're never going to beat AI. That's just the truth of it, okay? That's it, okay? That's much, much better, by the way. That whole scenario is much, much better than having any knowledge yourself. No matter how much of an expert you are, as I said, no matter how much of an expert you are, you're never going to be able to store as much information as AI. And that is what we're taking advantage of here. Instead of creating a digital product on very broad topics like personal development or bodybuilding, instead we focus on very specific topics that are a lot easier to find solutions for, have way more buying intent because what you're selling solves one specific issue instead of a bunch of different broad issues, have way less competition because everyone is busy on the broad topics. And most importantly, okay, and this really is most importantly, to do this, you don't need to have any previous knowledge. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need to have any authority. And no one even needs to know who you are because the value of the product is not related to you. Different than regular digital products where you are buying for a specific person's expertise. Let me make that clear. Digital Products 1.0, you're buying from or you're buying because of a specific person's expertise. That is different to Digital Products 2.0. Because what we do here is we use the right AI solution to create what I call non-expert digital products. Those are digital products that don't depend on you being an expert at anything to be valuable. Listen, in the same way 10 years ago, no one who made millions and millions of dollars drop shipping rubber ducks knew anything about rubber ducks, okay? They just found that there was demand there, and they had the product pre-made. Think about the difference between a museum tour guide and a treasure map. If you want a museum tour, you typically care deeply about the credentials of the guide. You want someone with expertise in art history who knows the stories behind each painting. And in this case, the value is directly tied to that specific person's knowledge. That is what Digital Products 1.0 used to sell. On the other hand, a treasure map's value has nothing to do with who's selling it. Listen, whether an expert guide sells it or someone who just found it randomly in their drawer, the map's value comes from what it points to, which is the treasure itself. The person handing you the map adds no inherent value to the direction it contains. That is exactly what we're doing with non-expert digital products. You are not selling your personal expertise or knowledge. You are selling a treasure map that points people to valuable information that already exists. You're curating, organizing, and packaging existing information in a way that saves people time and effort. For example, I'm sure most of you guys didn't know this, but if you want to fly to Miami for vacations, did you know that you can actually add a stop in New York on your air ticket completely free? So you can visit both cities in one trip, but only pay for one flight. I'm sure most of you guys didn't know that. Imagine telling that to someone who's currently planning their vacations in Miami. How much would they be willing to pay to learn that? Most importantly, does it matter if you're an expert travel agent in this case? No, as long as you can show people how to book that air ticket themselves, that is all they care about. That is where the value is for them. And guess what? You can learn how to do that in less than 3 minutes with AI. Or a completely different example, the number one injury that keeps people from working the most in the US is shoulder injuries. And did you know that there have been over 20,000 studies on shoulder injuries? 20,000 studies. And doctors have found out that there's one single 90-second exercise that, when done once a day, can fix 70% of shoulder injuries and can even help avoid surgery. How much would someone who's suffering day in, day out from acute shoulder pain for their entire day pay to figure out what exercise that is? Now, just to make something very clear, I didn't read all 20,000 studies to come to this conclusion. AI did, and it told me that. By the way, that exercise is a dead hang, okay? No worries. I'm not expecting payment for that. Now listen, I'm going to give you a real example of a digital product that has sold thousands of units. There's this guy. This guy has compiled the top 10 survival videos from YouTube and sold them as a digital product. His argument was a very simple one. There are over 60,000 survival videos on YouTube. I've compiled the top 10 for you. So that way you don't have to waste months going through all of them. And whenever I say stuff like this, people go, okay, well that's cool that he's doing that. But like, would anyone even buy that? And let me tell you, that guy sold 570 units of his digital product a day. So you could say it's working quite well for him. And the craziest thing is that wherever I look, I see untapped opportunities for digital products. When you start thinking like this, you start to see them everywhere. For example, yesterday I was watching YouTube and I came across this video. 53 studies later, the best way to improve VO2. The idea of the video was quite simple, basically. I read 53 studies on VO2 and I found the best way to improve it. VO2 is a metric to judge your cardiovascular capacity that running and endurance sports enthusiasts love to geek out about. This video would have been a perfect digital product that this guy could have sold on that video. Just so you guys understand, there's 20,000 people searching on Google a day for how to improve your VO2 max. A day, 20,000 people. This is a topic with insanely high monetization potential. And it's also a perfect product to have created with AI. You don't need to read the studies yourself. AI can do that for you, or the right AI solution, I should say, in just a matter of minutes. The video from that guy is sitting at 169,000 views. That is anywhere from $20,000 to $100,000 in potential sales that he missed out on for not selling this product in that video. You could sell a product like that from anywhere from $50 to $300 easily. And I'm going to show you how to pick the right pricing in our live session too. Now, how do I know all this? Am I some genius or someone who just randomly has 1,000 random facts on digital products? No, of course not. I just found out about those things a few minutes ago as well. All right, AI told me. Listen, in fact, I have a very specific 4-step process that I use to get AI to uncover hidden profitable topics and then create a digital product on those topics for me, even if I know nothing about them. I don't have to do any research or write anything myself. In the first case, it pinpointed the topic of couples who already have a vacation planned to Miami looking to add activities to their itinerary without breaking the bank. Do you see how that's so much better, more desirable, and easier to find a solution for than if I was just creating a digital product on how to have a dream vacation? That is the mistake most people make when they're creating their first digital product. Most importantly, since it's such a specific topic, packaging the solution into a digital product becomes much more simple than with broad open topics like traveling. So instead of having to create 30 to 50 in-depth, highly produced videos, which guys, I'm the master of, I've done that many, many times over. Instead, our products are simple 90 minutes, no face even. You can see an example there on the right, and I'm going to talk about that in just a couple of days. Like, guys, I put my money where my mouth is, okay? And I practice what I preach, and I practice what I preach on every type of digital products, digital product 1.0 and 2.0. We'll talk about that in just a little second, okay? Our products, okay, are simple 90 minutes of screen recorded lessons and a few PDF workbooks to follow along. We usually break them down into 5 to 10 videos, 10 to 15 minutes each. No fluff, just bite-sized videos you can knock out over a coffee. Then grab the one-page summary to lock in what it is that you have learned. As a low tech this about as low tech and low production as it gets. I usually just go ahead and record mine with Loom, which is a simple free screen recording software. This way we can create the product much faster as well. It's kind of like a recipe book, but with videos instead of pages. Each lesson is a recipe that you watch with ingredients, which are the resources, and a step-by-step instruction on how you can follow this in real time. And you don't even need to show your face in these videos. More about that in just a second. Now, going back to our second example of shoulder pain, the AI simply pinpointed the topic of fitness enthusiasts over 50 struggling with recurring shoulder pain injuries. Then it just analyzed all the data on that problem out there and gave me a pre-made solution, all backed by science and data. I didn't have to discover or invent anything myself. And I don't need to have any authority to create a digital product on those topics because they are all backed by science or publicly available data. These non-expert digital products are what digital products 2.0, okay? This is what separates digital product 1.0 from 2.0. And this is why, listen, even 6 months ago, I couldn't make this presentation for you guys. It's just things are advancing so quickly. And if you catch it at the right time, and if you have the right AI solution, it's game over for you. Look, this is a historic opportunity. In the past, if I wanted to go into an industry that I wasn't an expert in, I had to write a check for hundreds of thousands of dollars or even $1 million plus for someone else to create the digital product for me. Then I had to spend months figuring out how to actually package all of their knowledge into a digestible 5-step method. And only then would I be able to actually release it and test it to see if people even want to buy it or not. And most of the time, people didn't want it. So I would go through this entire process, all this time and money, all of that time and money and effort was wasted, okay? Now, in 2025, all you have to do is click a few buttons and the right AI solution will do all this process for you in less than a day without you having to spend a dime. What used to be the hardest part of this process, actually creating a product, has now become the easiest. And the best thing, you can go through this process and get the right AI solution to create as many products as you want, however many times you want, at no risk for you. So even if 100 of your products fail, nothing really happens. You don't lose any money or barely any time. And better yet, the way we do it, we just need to be right once. Listen, if you were to go out and test 100 different dropshipping products, it might cost you $10,000, $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 in ad costs to actually validate whether those products work or not. And I've seen a lot of people lose a lot of money, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 like that. I've seen a lot of people really mess up their lives by trying to get into, for example, dropshipping. We're having to validate and test all this stuff. Whereas the way that we do with Digital Products 2.0, listen, maybe your first 9 don't work out. Maybe your first 15, maybe your first 100 don't work. But it's kind of like having a slot machine where you don't have to put any more money in. Once you have the slot machine, it's an infinite slot machine. Yeah, it might take, a bunch of spins, but eventually you're going to hit and you're going to land that one product. And that one product has the potential to make you 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, maybe even make you your first million. And that is the beauty of this. Listen, I'm one of those people, I really like, it really hurts my heart seeing beginners get into, or no, I don't even want to say beginners, but people get into businesses where they could really mess things up for themselves, okay? I don't want people risking $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, okay? The way that we're doing it here, as I said, it's like an infinite slot machine. You can keep pulling it until you find the winning product and it costs you zero. So if you find one simple digital product, that's enough to change your entire life. That's enough to take you from wherever, whatever place you are right now. If you feel like you're trapped as a slave to your own circumstances, a single digital product can take you to your turning point and make you an ungovernable individual. That's exactly what it did to me, and it's happening every day to dozens of people already. If you don't believe me, I recommend just go on Twitter. Okay, I know it's called X, but I'll forever call it Twitter. Go look on Twitter right now at something called WAPBot. It tweets every single time a digital product crosses the $100,000 mark on WAP. At this point, it happens dozens of times a day. That is, every single time this account puts out a tweet, it represents someone probably around your age, just as capable, to be honest, probably even less capable than you, who has successfully achieved their turning points. Do you realize the power of this opportunity? And I want you to make the most of it. I know the next question probably most of you guys are having is, but how do I actually sell these digital products? And I'll answer that in a second. But before that, I have something even more important that you need to understand if you want to seize this opportunity. Listen, I've had tens of thousands of people join one of my programs. Tens of thousands went on to make money with them and achieve their turning point. Some of them went on to make a lot of money. Some of them even made generational wealth levels of fortune. I've had people who've come in as delivering Uber Eats to making $10,000 in a matter of a couple months, and then go on to make $57,000 a month 6 months later. But there are also people who never made their first dollar online. Okay, and that's the truth of it. All of them had access to the same strategies, frameworks, and systems. And that always really bugged me. That always really annoyed me, because for me, I looked at it and I was like, how come two different people who have access to the exact same information, word for word, the exact same tools, systems, coaching, community, everything, go on to have such drastically different results? And over the past 2 years, I should say, I've had my team search for the answers to this question. I literally created an entire department in my company. At one point, I was spending $250,000 a month just on this department. We call it the success team. All they do all day is jump on calls with students one-on-one. All of that to figure out what the pattern was between the successful students that we could help with some of the newer students that applied the same pattern. My success team took over 10,000 one-on-one calls with students, in the past years to coach them and figure out the answer to this question. And it was funny. We've had people start from all different situations than you can imagine. Young guys in their 20s who are still in university, people who are just starting out, who have never had any work experience before, people with a lot of experience under their belts and years working in their industry, people in extremely difficult personal and financial situations. We've also had people in very fortunate situations. We've had people who are very good with words and people who barely even spoke English. Okay, we've had it all. And surprisingly, the starting point, where they actually started from, made no difference in their final results. We had people who systematically failed, even with lots of previous knowledge, and have everything in their favor. We've also had people with no expertise, no technical knowledge or work experience who still managed to become successful. At first, I didn't understand why this happened, but after those 10,000 calls, the answer became very, very clear. The difference between the ones who generate $10,000 a month and the ones who fail, it's not their skill or starting position or how smart or dedicated they are. Let me ask you a question, and I want you to be 100% honest with me. No judgment, be honest with yourself. Do you feel right now that you are capable and deserving of having a business that makes $10,000 in the next 30 days? Yes or no? And by the way, please do not feel afraid to actually drop the real answer. All 52,000, at least on my screen, I've got 52,048 people. All of us right now, okay, we're all on the same journey here, okay? No one is going to judge you. Now, I'm going to change the scenario. I'm going to up the ante slightly. Now I want you to imagine that your father or your mother is about to be wrongfully convicted to 15 years in jail. 15 years that they're going to have to spend locked up with barely any contact to the outside world. They are about to get robbed for 1/5 of their entire livelihood. And the only way to stop that is to get a lawyer, which you can't afford because their fee is $10,000. In that situation, do you think that you'd be capable of figuring out something to generate those $10,000? Not even in 30 days, by the way, in 7 days. Okay. Yes or no? Drop in the chat. If those were the circumstances, if that was the stake. Okay. If that was on the line, drop a yes, drop a no. Yes. Yeah, of course. Somehow, yes, got to make it. Of course. Beautiful. Anyone who drops a no, trust me, stick around for these 5 days and you'll know that there's always a way. Because the main difference in each one of those situations, the difference is the why. That's what it comes down to. The why behind why you're doing what you're doing, that's what makes all the difference. It's the why behind your actions that makes what you achieve right now, that's what makes it not possible to you. Okay. It makes you break the limitations that you set for yourself. After taking those 10,000 calls with successful as well as some unsuccessful students, it became obvious all of the successful students had a why behind the business that they were starting. They knew exactly why they were getting into it. And more often than not, that why was not related to them. They were doing it for someone else, for their mom, for their family, for their wife, their girlfriend, their son. The fact is, we are all going to face setbacks in our journeys. All of us, okay? It doesn't matter what you do, how much information you have, what business you get into, you will face setbacks. So I have one question for you. One question that will really set apart the challengers reaching $10,000 a month with those who will inevitably give up. What is your why? I actually want you to drop it in the chat. Tell me what your why is. Is it living life on your own terms and never having to obey a boss again? Is it making sure that your parents are taken care of? Is it helping your loved ones and giving them gifts? Is it the freedom to travel wherever, whenever you want? Let me check the chat. Mom for my family, children, father, freedom, freedom. Yeah, I love it. Listen, I want you to note your why down, okay? You know what I love? I love the fact that no one says like Lambo or this or that. Like it's all about things that are important. Really, the things that are important. Family, making sure my parents are taken care of to do whatever I want, and family, parents are taken care of, parents, freedom, loved ones, mom, helping my parents. And by the way, guys, if you want like nice watches and nice cars, good, you deserve it. And I think those things, like you earned it. Like you earned it. You deserve those things. But for me, you got to put first order of business. First order of business is take care of your family. That's the most important thing. Mom and son, beautiful. All right, beautiful. Fuck, I love those answers. I was actually like a little worried going into this. Like someone's like, I want to blah blah blah, all, supercar, this, that. What is that? There's nothing wrong with those things, but it's just, priorities. We have to set our priorities straight. We have to take care of the people that took care of us, and then after that, we can enjoy the fruits of our labor. Listen, it is truly only with a powerful why that you're going to be able to profit from the fifth market revolution, digital products 2.0. Okay. So what I want you to do after this episode, if you haven't had the time to probably think about it right now, is to note down what is your why. This is as important, if not even more, than all of the content that I'm going to give you today. I hope you understand this. Now, I'm going to get back to your why at the end of the session. So let's get back to the answer that I owe you. How do I sell digital products? Well, I'm going to say something that's going to piss off a lot of business gurus out there. I want you to forget the word selling for a second, because the truth is, you don't need to sell to be successful. What you need instead is something called distribution. This is going to go against a lot of conventional wisdom, okay? You don't need to sell, you just need distribution. Let me prove it to you. Think about it. When you go to the supermarket and you see all those products on the shelves, how much money do you think that they make? Every single brand on that shelf is moving tens of millions of dollars in products, especially in the big supermarkets. Now, how many times have you seen those companies trying to sell you their products? At Max, I mean, maybe you see like an ad somewhere, a billboard, something like that, but they never sell you their products directly, okay? Why? Because they don't have to. Listen, you're not going to get a San Pellegrino trying to sell you every single bottle. No, they don't need to. Why would they? Okay? They don't need to. They don't need to cold call, or they don't need to knock on your door and pitch you into buying a box of cereal. Why? Because they know that when you want cereal, you're going to go to the supermarket to buy it. Or maybe you don't even want cereal, but you're going to go to the supermarket for something else. And on the way to that other thing, you're going to see a box of cereal and then end up buying it regardless. What they do, okay, is much, much smarter than selling. The fact that they focus on distribution rather than selling is so smart. They simply position their products in a place where people are already predisposed to buy whatever it is that they sell. They're just putting themselves in front of pre-sold buyers. With that, they don't need sales, but they end up selling thousands of times more than other products focused on sales. What they do is so many more multiples powerful. That, my friend, is called distribution. If you want to be successful, sell your product easily and sell a lot of it, you don't need sales, you need distribution. And that is actually one of our 3 steps to create a successful digital product. Let me explain how I figured this out. As a part of being a co-owner in WAP, I get access to data from tens of thousands of digital product businesses that no one else has access to. I basically have the intelligence on this industry that no other company or individual has. I have the data. I have seen the data behind over $1 billion in digital product sales. And when I say this, that number might seem abstract. I know maybe $1 billion in your mind, you're thinking, wait, people have earned $1 billion on our platform. $1 billion people have made on our platform so far. But let me put this into perspective. If you took that 1 billion and you convert it into $100 bills, it would create a stack of cash over a kilometer tall, higher than 2 Empire State Buildings stacked on top of each other. That is how much people have made from digital products, and it's just the beginning. Or think about it this way. If you earned $100,000 per year, it would take you 10,000 years to earn $1 billion. That is longer than all of recorded human civilization. That is a scale of digital product sales flowing through just one platform. And as a co-owner of WAP, I get to see exactly what's working, what's selling, and what customers are demanding across this massive marketplace. And here is what I did. I analyzed the data from all digital products on WAP that generated over $100,000 in sales. And here is what I uncovered. It turns out that every single digital product has 3 elements in common. And I want you to pay deep attention to these 3 elements. This is the simple 3-step process that everything I'm going to be teaching during the next 5 days will be based off of. These 3 common elements are development, distribution, and delivery, the 3 Ds. And that makes a lot of sense. Just think about every single product out there. It can be any product, by the way. They've all gone through these 3 steps. They first develop the product, then they distribute this product, finally, they deliver this product. If you can follow these 3 steps correctly, you can make a fortune in this industry. The first step is quite self-explanatory. Nothing happens until something is bought. And for that, you need a product. In order to have a product, you need to develop one. That historically has been the highest barrier to entry when it comes to digital product, as we already talked about. Now, due to the recent advancements in AI, just like I've already shown you, it's now possible for you to develop your own digital product from scratch, even if you have no previous knowledge, expertise, or authority. Those are what I call non-expert digital products. Now, there's a few very specific criteria you need to make sure your product possesses when you're developing it. They will ensure that your product has the highest potential of becoming a successful and highly profitable digital product. I'm going to break down those criteria in detail, and I'm going to give you the step-by-step process on how to create your first digital product from zero in our live session 2. Now, once you have your product developed, you need distribution. As I already explained to you, that is much more powerful than sales. And what all these successful digital products have in common is that they all have 1 or 2 distribution channels that takes advantage of untapped markets where the potential buyers of their products already are actively looking for what it is that they sell. They basically use these distribution channels to find pre-sold buyers. They know exactly how to position their digital products in places where people with high buying intent are hanging out, okay, where they're actively looking to buy what it is that they sell. And I'm going to go deeper on how to do this in day 3, but I'll give you a little spoiler here, and it has something to do with marketplaces. I mean, think about it. When you want to learn something, you search on Google or maybe YouTube. But when you want to buy something, what's the first thing you do? You go to a marketplace. You want to buy physical products? You go to Amazon. You want to watch a movie? You go to Netflix. You want to order food? You go Uber Eats. Well, guess what? The same thing is happening with digital products right now. And we have a pretty unfair advantage here. Once again, we're going to talk about that in episode 3. Then, on top of that, we, once again, use AI to create a few specific marketing assets for us that tap into existing distribution channels where people are already looking to buy digital products just like ours. I'm going to explain it in detail in Tuesday's session. Finally, once you have developed your product and have distribution in place, sales are going to start naturally pouring in. At first, it's going to be just a few sales, 1 or 2 here and there. That's how it all starts. Now, after you dial in your distribution, these numbers can scale a lot, and they can scale quickly. Just like Connor, who created his first digital product, and in 24 hours got $16,000 in sales. And 3 days later, he was already at $62,000 from his digital products. Or Rebecca, who made $9,000 in 24 hours when she launched her first digital product last Friday, which on one hand is a great thing because you can literally go from a few $100s to tens of thousands of dollars in a matter of weeks. I've seen it happen multiple times before. But that also means if you don't have your delivery process dialed in, you could be a great risk. Because one of the biggest reasons businesses fail in this digital product industry is that they grow too much, too fast, and then their delivery breaks. So they end up letting down hundreds of customers, which is deadly in this business. And that is why you need to have the right delivery systems in place so that, first of all, that doesn't happen. And most importantly, by having the right systems, you can deliver your product automatically without any input from yourself. So that way, the work for fulfilling 10 sales or 10,000 sales becomes virtually the same. This is what true infinite scale looks like. Whether you sell 1 unit, 10, 100, 1,000, it doesn't matter. You could sell 1 million units. It all looks the same. Okay. This way, you can also do everything yourself. You don't need to hire a bloated team or any employees. This is the ultimate one-person business, you and just you. And that is the last thing, okay, that all these successful digital products that scale past $100,000 have in common. They have their delivery system on point, which allows them to essentially have unlimited scale. No other business right now can provide you with that. Usually, scaling comes with a lot of constraints and headaches, more logistics, more complex shipping routes, scaling suppliers, growing storage spaces, etc. But not in this business. With the setup I'll show you, you can scale your digital product almost infinitely without ever facing any of these scaling issues. You create a product once, and after that, each time you sell it, all you have to do is copy and paste the access to a different person. By the way, all of that happens automatically. You don't need to manufacture anything, send it somewhere. You don't need to be sitting at your desk or working at all in order to deliver it to more and more people. Someone buys it, it gets automatically delivered to them, okay? You could be sitting anywhere. You could be hanging out with your wife. You could be on the beach somewhere. You could be going for a run. It doesn't matter. This is all running in the background without you. And that's why I like to say that digital products essentially fix all the problems that come with e-commerce and physical product-based businesses. Now, there's a reason that this is considered the most profitable industry in the world. So to sum it all up, the three-step process to create $10,000 a month digital product from zero: 1, develop; 2, distribute; 3, deliver. The 3 Ds, basically. Everything we're going to talk about over the next few days will be built on top of this 3-step process. Tomorrow, in our second live session, we're going to go over the first step of this process: how to deliver your digital product from zero, even on a topic you know nothing about. Just with this class alone, you'll have enough to start making money with this model. Then on Tuesday, in our third live session, we're going to go over distribution. In fact, I'm going to show you how to list your digital product in an untapped distribution channel that's currently selling $2 to $3 million a month in digital product sales passively. I'll show you how to deliver your product automatically every time someone buys it, so that way you don't have to work more in order to make more sales. This way, the work to deliver 10 units or 10,000 units of your product becomes virtually the same. Finally, on Wednesday, I'm going to show you how to put these 3 steps together and give you the ultimate guide to starting a $373 a day digital product business from zero in the next 90 days. And then on Thursday, we're going to have a very special guest on, someone very under the radar. Listen, if you were to see this person on the street, you would think they were just a regular guy. He is a dad of 3, a father of 3. And in fact, he's my co-host, Jason. And he's going to literally dissect $250 million worth of digital product experience. And as I said, this person could walk on the street. You would never know who this is. He never needs to show his face, nothing. Okay. And that is exactly what he does. What most people don't know, as I said, is that he's made over $250 million in digital product sales just to prove that anyone can do it. And not only has he made $250 million in digital product sales, he is basically the person, you know, like when people copy from someone, well, those people copied from Jason. And, you know, I'm going to introduce him later when we do a little bit more of the informal chat. But he is, he has consulted some of the biggest people in the space, okay, on all this stuff. Now, let me tell you something. There's no way to guarantee success in life, but there are many ways to guarantee failure. So let me ask you an uncomfortable question. Do you know what's the most sure way to guarantee failure? Depending fully on a salary where your compensation is based on how much time you sell. I don't care how much your hour is worth, okay? Whether it's worth a lot as a doctor, a lawyer, or a regular 9-to-5 worker. There's only so many hours in a day for you to sell. And even worse, if you are selling at all hours, you don't have time to enjoy the wealth that you are building, which, let's be honest, that's the most important part of this process. If there's one thing I hate, it's all of this bullshit hustle culture that some people keep promoting of, I missed all my friends' birthdays in my 30s because I was working on my business. Listen, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I find that shit lame as fuck, okay? What is the point? What's the point of making all of this money if you can't simply go to your best friend's wedding? I would rather make 10 times less and still be able to do whatever I want, whenever I want, than the other way around. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just crazy, okay? Maybe I'm crazy for wanting to enjoy my life. Listen, I'm pretty sure most of you guys feel the same way. I am not running my business to be rich for life. I am doing it to live a rich life. I want to enjoy as many life experiences as possible. And the moment you start offering a product instead of your time, you have just taken the first step to a rich life without trading your freedom in the process. When you take that first step, you are now ungovernable. And once you experience how it feels to be ungovernable, you won't ever want to go back. Trust me, I have been a person who's been on both sides of the equation. There are only 2 ways to join: selling something very expensive to a few people or selling something cheap to a lot of people. A non-expert digital product built with AI is your way to join the upper class. I have laid out the path in front of you. All you need to do now is walk it, and you too will become ungovernable. Remember, I said earlier that I had 30,000 individuals going through my programs and I identify a few patterns between the successful ones. Well, as I said, the first pattern was that they all had a why behind what they were doing. But there were also more patterns. Another huge pattern that kept repeating between the students was that every failed individual quit when they felt overwhelmed or didn't understand something. And right now, odds are that you probably feel overwhelmed. That's normal, okay? Don't worry. That, by the way, a lot of times that's just excitement. So maybe you didn't really understand one specific concept or got a bit confused by the other. That is totally fine, my friend. It's okay. I'm here. It is a lot of new content, and feeling that way simply means that you're putting effort into learning something new. And it's good that you're feeling like that. Now, even more important than feeling is what you decide to do with it, because this is what separates the individuals who live as lifelong slaves to their circumstances versus the individuals who will become ungovernable. If you quit or simply decide not to watch the rest of the episodes of the series because you're too overwhelmed, or maybe you think that this isn't right for you, it won't work for your specific situation, I'm sorry. But listen, at the end of the day, those are all excuses, okay? Those are excuses that your brain will inevitably keep you in your comfort zone. And giving into those excuses is the ultimate character traits of the ones who never make the leap into ungovernable individuals. On the other hand, every successful student who goes on to become ungovernable and achieve their turning point, they all do something different when they feel overwhelmed or feel like clicking out. They go there and watch whatever session, okay? Let's say they come in, they watch a session, they don't fully understand everything, and they go back and they watch it again and again, okay? They watch it again and again, and this slight difference in attitude is really what sets apart the winner from the losers. And once again, now that you're aware of that, whenever you feel like quitting this challenge or leaving it for later, just ask yourself, is this me giving into my irrational urges that just want to keep me stuck as a slave to my circumstances? And once again, ask yourself this question. I trust you in making the right decision. Not the decision that's easy, but the right one. Right for your future, right for your family, right for the why behind what we are doing here. What I'm going to present to you in the next few days, I want to make it clear, it's not for everyone. It's only for the ones who are ready to take the right decision, not the easy one. And I only want to talk to the ones who are not satisfied. Do you understand how quickly this market is growing? Okay, you can have a piece of this pie. Your first step is to attend all of the sessions of the challenge live daily at 1 p.m. EST. Because when you're here live, you're going to get to join us as a special, with our special Q&A at the end that gets cut out right after, okay? We just had Jason come into the room. He's literally sat to right of me. I'll introduce him in just a second. Because I'm going to tell you, like, our secondary session is a lot more informal, and we actually get to engage with you. Listen, I'm trying to, I've put together hundreds and hundreds of slides here, okay? I'm trying to, because I know, listen, there's some of you guys who are watching this and they're like, okay, get to the point, like, just give me what I want. And there's some people who are like, hey, let's take our time with it. I want some interaction. I want to dive deep into these specific topics. So we're giving you we're giving you both sides of the equation. At first, I'm going to come in and just, really stick to the regime and really stick to what it is that I've come in here to accomplish, and try to give you as much value as humanly possible. And then we get into some of the more informal, kick your feet up, hang out. And as I said, Jason's to my right, and I'll bring him on in just a second. So the only way that you can benefit from all this is being here live every single day. Okay. This is your only way to access that and get the best actionable information. So that way, by the end of the week, you too can have your own digital product ready to start making sales. The second step is to complete your workbook. Every single day, I'm going to send a workbook in the WhatsApp group for the challenge. If you are not there yet, you can join by registering with your email using the link in the description of the video. Okay, that is the only way, using the link in the description of the video. That is the only way that you can get access to the workbook. By the way, every single workbook has its own password, and you need to be here live to get access to it. So today's workbook password is WAVE. Okay, that is the password. Just write that down somewhere. Okay, WAVE, and you can access it after. Your homework today, the workbook is very simple. All you have to do is write down your why, as we've discussed in this video already. And now it's time for us to kick our feet up, get a little bit more informal. This part of the session is only available to you if you are here live. Okay, so from now on, anything we say from here on out will be cut